Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Big Al with Throne Breaks. This is episode 11 of Throne Breaks. No guest again today, but what I am going to do is the last couple episodes have been kind of educational pieces. Today, I'm going to look for some education from you guys. I'm going to open up a box of a sport that I'm familiar with, but I'm not too familiar with, right? And I kind of want to see if I hit something, if you guys will let me know in the comments, oh, that's a huge card, oh, that's not a big card, whatever. I want some education from you guys now, since the last couple episodes have been education from me. So that's what we got in store for the episode today, is one box opening of a sport I don't really know too well, and then maybe a second box opening of a sport that I know well. So stick around. What a wild week it was in the NBA in the trade deadline day. That was nuts. I mean, I feel like the NBA exploded on itself. It was crazy. All the moves. Kevin Durant's a son now. Bridges and Cam Johnson are a net. Bridges just went off for 45 the other night. I know this airs on Saturday. It was like a Wednesday night. I think he went off for 45. D'Angelo Russell's back in LA with the Lakers. Pat Beverly's not there anymore. It's insane. It was a crazy trade deadline for the NBA. It's affecting cards a little bit, but it will really affect the cards when, you know, the guys are in the New Jerseys. If KD takes the Suns to the championship, then Booker cards go up, Chris Paul cards go up, you know, his cards go up, whatever. So the card market not affected immediately, but time will tell, and it will be affected. It was a huge trade deadline day. There's no way it won't be affected, is what I'm saying. I also mentioned before that we were going to do a box opening. I'm looking for some education from you guys. I don't know if Johnny Red Dot has watched a single episode of Throne Breaks yet, Johnny Red Dot, but he's the hockey guy that I know. Derek Dillman, I know, knows hockey as well, and I'm going to open up a box of hockey in hopes that we hit something big. It's 1920 Upper Deck MVP hockey. Let's just get right into it. Here's the box. 1920 Upper Deck MVP hockey. It says this box contains an assortment of MVP hockey trading cards. What are we looking for here? Stanley Cup edition, 1 in every 5. What's the big hits? 2019 NHL number 1 draft pick, 1 in every 1,250. Gold, 1 in every, wow, 12,500. Crazy. Colors and contours purple parallel numbered to 9. Colors and contours gold parallel numbered to 249. Super numbered to 25. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it. Let's freaking do it, guys. Let's freaking do it. All right, 1920 Upper Deck MVP hockey. Got my card sleeves with me. Need my top loaders. I'll top load after. We'll sleeve them as we go. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. What a wild Super Bowl it was, huh? Chiefs did it again. 8 cards per pack, 20 packs per box. Got a second layer there, huh? Into the 1920 Upper Deck MVP hobby box we go. Guys, hockey, very affordable. You know, when you're looking at collecting cards, finding a way in, hockey hobby boxes, very affordable. This box, I want to say, is like $65 on the market. Maybe that high. Maybe not even that high. Let's just go get something cool. Stanley Cup edition, silver and super scripts. Jaden Schwartz, Robin Lehner. He was a Golden Knight for a minute. Ryan Suter. JT Miller. Okay. Packs they're not buttery like football packs. They're not buttery. They're stiff. Phil Kessel, new Iron Man. Most games played. Jacob Middleton, there's a rookie. We're really looking for like Sidney Crosby. We're looking for Austin Matthews. We're looking for Ovechkin. I don't know if those guys are even in here. See, so I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't study the checklist before doing this. Actually, Austin Matthews probably not even in this product. I don't think he was in the NHL in 1920. What's that in the middle there? What's that in the middle there? Thomas Hertl. Carey Price. It's Nicholas Backstrom. Stanley Cup edition. That's silver. Silver. Anderson, Kleinberg, Werenski. Whoa, we got something die cut of some sort, and there's an auto. 2 autos back to back. Number to 249, that one. That's silver ink. Linus Ullmark, Sabres auto. Sleeve that up. And then a John Tavares for the Maple Leafs. $249, 184, 249. That's the printed on auto. The other one actual written on auto to 249. That's pretty cool. That's a cool card. We're learning. We're learning. So far, not a lot of rookies in this Upper Deck MVP 1920 hockey hobby box. Kevin LeBlanc. I know the Sharks guys because they're our arch enemies. They're the Golden Knights rivals, the biggest rivals right now, early in our, I'd say in our team's career. Dylan Strome. Net Crashers. Nice looking card there. Anze Kopitar for the Kings. Nice hit. Nice hit for the Kings, LA. Paul Stastny as a Golden Knight. Golden Knight. VGK all day, baby. Go Knights, go. Go Knights, go. Go Knights, go. Go Knights, go. How many autos are in this? Brady. Chuck. Left wing. Left wing for the Ottawa Senators. Wait a second. Is there supposed to be this many autos? That's two actual ink autos. Brent Burns, boo. Brent Burns, boo. That's 2 actual autos. That seems like a lot for a $65 box. These packs really are not like butter. Another silver superscript, Morgan Riley for the Maple Leafs. Sergey, back-to-back, same card. Into the next pack we go. Another auto. That's cool. I'm very confused. How many are you supposed to get in here? Alexander Radulov, right wing for the Dallas Stars. And then a laser shots hollow of Malkin for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not bad. Not too bad there. Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux. Okay. We're doing things. We're seeing stuff. I'm actually impressed with the box. I had no idea what to expect. Like I said, didn't look up the checklist. Don't really ever open hockey. But so far, I think we're doing all right, huh? You'll have to let me know. Alex Tuck is there. Josh Morrissey. Are these actual autos? They're not actual autos. I'm not sure anymore. I'm not even sure anymore. Winnipeg. Shea Weber. It looks like it's actual auto, but I don't think it's actual auto. I'm not even sure anymore. Now, if you're watching this and you're in the hobby and you're into hockey, you're probably laughing at me because I couldn't tell if it's actual ink or not. Some of them look like actual ink. That last one didn't. I don't know. Whatever. We push on, boys. We push on, boys and girls. PK Subban for Nashville. Why does the Sebastian Aho? Look different. That's why. Is that? I wonder if you complete kind of like on the back of Topps Heritage Baseball. It's a photo back instead of. All right. Instead of the stats on the back. Interesting. Normal back of card looks like that. This one looks like this. Alright. Nikita. Don't know how to say his last name, so I won't try. Kucherov. Nikita Kucherov. Laser shots. Nikita Kucherov. That is how you say it. Took me a second. Something different in here again. Silver superscripts of Gabriel Landeskog, Colorado, center wing. We got 6 packs to go. I don't know. At first when I thought they were autos, I was like, what is happening to this box? Now that I feel like they're not actual autos, I don't know how to feel. Not really. There's some names I recognize, but not too many of them yet. Some of the names I'm reading out loud are names I recognize. TJ Oshie. Taro Herso. That's a rookie auto. Or is it an auto? I don't know. The way they have the black on the card makes me think it's an actual ink auto. I'll recap the hits too. We can count how many of those we got. Like, I feel like it's almost one every pack, so that makes me think it's not actual ink. I'd love to see a gold superscript or one more of those ruby, I think it was called, to 249. I'd like to see one more of those. Two packs left to get one. Don't think we got one here. John Tavares, that's the guy that we got the numbered. Sidney Crosby, hey now. He's a checklist card. Sidney Crosby. We got one more hollow of some sort. Laser shots of Steven Stamkos for the Lightning. Let's recap the hits. That was the box. 1920 Upper Deck MVP hockey. We'll count out how many of those auto non-autos we got. Sydney. There's one. There's two. It's tough with the sleeves on, huh? The light's hitting it out well. Malkin. There's three. Alexander Radulov. There's four. Brady. It's a nice card there. There's 5, 6, and then the number to 249, Tavares. That's a superscript, so not an actual ink auto. Are those actual ink autos? Guys, this is the education part I need from you. Are those actual ink autos? Like I said, the black on the card makes me want to say yes, because it gives the player a place to sign the card. But they would be all on card essentially then. And we got one, two, three, four, five, 6 of them. That seems crazy for a $65 box. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe. You guys just saw that. Maybe that's what a hockey box is like. A hockey hobby box. Maybe. Let's get the base in the team bag. What we do with our base is we put them in team bags, and when we go to card shows like this, we'll have team bags full of base cards. And you know, we'll put some nice cards in there too, like this is a red, white, and blue parallel. You know, we'll put cards that, you know, some people may not want from their break or something. And we'll put them in team bags. And then what we do is we hand them out at card shows to kids. Because when we were all kids collecting, you know, I remember, You wanted every card you get your hand on. It didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter what it was. You just wanted it. You wanted the card. So just trying to pay it forward that way, and it works out. Also, guys, the show is called Throne Breaks. We have a Whatnot channel called Throne Breaks. We run breaks there. We run singles. If you don't know what Whatnot is, you should check it out. If you're into Funko Pops, if you're into vintage clothing, if you're into sneakers, if you're into Hot Wheels, if you're into Pokemon, if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're into Magic the Gathering, all of that stuff. If you're into Disney pins, all that can be found on Whatnot. It's an amazing app, an amazing online live marketplace, and a lot of fun, especially if you get locked into a community. We just made a Discord. Throne Breaks just made a Discord. We can drop that in the description of this video. We can drop it in chat while we're live as well. Hop in the Discord talking about community. We have buy, sell, trade in there. We have PC pieces. We have just regular general throne talk. Just hobby talk. It'd be a great place for you guys that don't know too much to go in and ask questions and find out from me, from other people that have been in the hobby for a while, what is up. I'm doing it. I feel like opening up one more box. Crown T-Mall. Crown Royale, Crown T-Mall. 6 cards inside. Look for Panini Asia exclusive red parallels. You can get gold numbered to 10. Crown autographs, red gold numbered to 31 or to 10. Rookie Crown autographs numbered to 31 or 10. Let's give it a shot. This is some of the stuff we break on our Whatnot channel. And exciting, very, very exciting news. We are in the process of making a website where you can go buy breaks and other things on the website. Blog posts, we'll do some vlogs. These episodes will probably end up living on there. Here we go. These cards are cool. They're mostly die cuts. I didn't get a snow globe or, oh, I did get a snow. No, I didn't. I didn't get a snow globe or a gold. That's too bad. Zaire Williams, rookie. Luca, base. Moses Moody, rookie. Bradley Bill. Sabonis, red mojo. And a test of time, Chris Paul for the Suns. Disappointed in that box. I don't think I was disappointed in the hockey box. That was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to be educated by you guys. Educate me. You guys see that? Educate me. Did I hit well in hockey? Did I not? Let me know. Join the Discord. Hop on Whatnot. Check us out. Be on the lookout for our website. There's so much happening in Throne Breaks world. But per usual, and as always, please, 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 don't forget how awesome you are. Until next time, peace.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to Who Wore It Best Jersey Royale. I'm your host, Kaleigh Krish, bringing you the stats, facts, and career highlights of the best athletes in the world. On this show, I like to make my athletes battle it out for the right to call themselves the best. Now, how do we do that? Well, each week I pick a number between 0 and 99, and then we break down the best athletes to ever wear that number. It could be anyone from baseball to cricket, football to soccer, and everywhere in between. If they are the best, then you will find them here. Once we've looked at the career highlights of each of our contenders, it is time to pick a winner. So at the end of the show, I will use all of my unbiased sports knowledge and mostly opinion to decide who wears the crown of the best ever to wear that particular number. And forever and ever, they will be the Who Wore It Best champion. Well, now that you know the show, let's get into the number. This week, we will be breaking down the best athletes in the world to ever wear the number 43. All right, you got those athletes in mind? Perfect. Here we go. First up on our list of the best athletes to wear the number 43, it is the King. And no, I am not talking about Elvis Presley. I am actually talking about NASCAR's Richard Petty. Richard Petty is a NASCAR legend. He had a 35-year-long career, which is incredibly impressive when you look at the average career of a NASCAR driver. It's 6.5 years. Petty started his career at the age of 21. And lucky for him, his dad Lee was already in the biz as a NASCAR driver himself. And in fact, when Petty won his first race in his rookie year, his dad protested the score on an official's error. A few hours later, Lee Petty was named the winner. That's right, he took the race from his own dang kid. Now that is the kind of competition we like to see here. Now Petty still went on to win NASCAR's Rookie of the Year after taking 9 top 10 finishes, including 6 top 5 finishes. The next year, he finished second in the NASCAR Grand National Points race, and he got his first career win at Charlotte Fairgrounds Speedway. But in 1963, that was his breakout year, winning at tracks like Martinsville and Bridgehampton. And the next year, Petty led 184 of 200 laps to capture his first Daytona 500 en route to 9 victories that season, and his first Grand National Championship. In 1966, Petty would overcome a 2-lap deficit to win the Daytona 500 again, making him the first driver to win that event twice. The next year was a milestone for the King, and actually, this was the year that he would earn that nickname after an impressive run, winning 27 of 48 races he entered, including, get this, a record 10 wins in a row. That is incredible. And that year, of course, he would win his second Grand National Championship. In 1971, after a couple of car changes and more wins under his belt, Petty would win his third Daytona 500, and of course, being the only driver to win 3 races at Daytona in their career. He would win 20 more races that season on his way to his third Grand National Championship, now called the Winston Cup Series, and eventually it would be named the NASCAR Cup Series, so I'm just gonna start calling it that from now on. We got it? Cool. Next season, thanks to his 28 top 10 finishes, 25 top 5 finishes, and 8 victories, Petty went on to win his 4th NASCAR Cup Series. 1975 was another historic year for Petty as he won the World 600 for the first time in his career, one of 13 victories en route to his 6th NASCAR Cup. Those 13 victories is a modern NASCAR record for victories in a season and was eventually tied in 1998 by Mr. Jeff Gordon. Now, although Gordon won 13 out of 33 races as opposed to Petty's 13 out of 30. So who really did it better? And in 1976, Petty was involved in one of the most famous finishes in NASCAR history. The King and David Pearson were racing on the last lap out of turn 4 in the Daytona 500. As Petty tried to pass Pearson at the exit of turn 4, Petty's right rear bumper hit Pearson's left front bumper. The two drivers both spun out and hit the front stretch wall. Now Petty's car came to a rest just yards from the finish line, but his engine stalled. And while his pit crew came out to try to push the car to the finish line, Pearson's engine was still going, and he was able to get to the finish line before Petty, ultimately stripping him of his 5th Daytona 500 win. But no tears. He would eventually win 2 more, including in 1979 and 81. In the 79 win, that is credited as a big surge in NASCAR popularity. This event had all the drama that fans love to see. It was the first televised live flag-to-flag Daytona, and the East Coast was snowed in, giving NASCAR a captive audience. This race had a final lap crash, fistfights, and underdog story that you love to hear. Take a look.
Where will Cale make his move? He comes to the inside. Donnie Allison throws the block. Cale hits him. He slides. Donnie Allison slides. They hit again. They drive into the turn. They're hitting the wall. They're head on the wall. They slide down to the inside. Let's watch those third-place cars. They're out of it. Coming down, Richard Petty is now pulling out in front. Darrell Waltrip is in second. A.J. Foyt is in third. Here they come. Waltrip trying to slingshot. Petty is out in front at the line. Waltrip to the inside. Petty wins it. Down on pit road. It has gone crazy. The Petty crew is out there jumping up and down. Petty has won it. Richard Petty, the great master, has just recorded his 186th career, and there's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost. And what a bitter defeat.
In 1991, Petty announced that he would retire after the 92 season. Petty's final appearance is still considered as the greatest race in NASCAR history. Not only was this the end of his 35-year-long career, but it was Jeff Gordon's first career start, and it was the second closest points race in NASCAR history, where 6 drivers were mathematically eligible to win the championship. A record 160,000 spectators attended the race and celebrated Petty's farewell. Petty was inducted into the first class of the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2010. A pretty outstanding career for this driver. All right, let's move on from Petty to Polamalu as we look at our next contender on the best to wear the number 43, Troy Polamalu. Troy played 12 years in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers and is considered a premier safety of his era. The guy was not only known for his beautiful locks, but also for his range, explosiveness, and impact on the field. Prior to being drafted to the Steelers, Polamalu was a 2-time first-team All-American for the USC Trojans. His sophomore year was his breakout year, recording 2 tackles and had an interception that he turned into a 43-yard touchdown in the season opener. He would finish that season with 83 tackles, 5 tackle for losses, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. And while his sophomore season put him on the map, his junior year was where he shone the most. At the start of the season, he was named team captain and followed that up with huge performance. In a game against Kansas State, he had a game-high 13 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 forced fumble. Polamalu would continue his dominance against his Pac-10 rivals. Against Stanford, he made a game-high 10 stops, 1 tackle for loss, and his first blocked punt of the season. Against Washington, he had a game-high 13 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and an interception that he returned for a 22-yard touchdown. At one point, he had a streak of 6 games in a row where he led both teams in tackles. Polamalu finished his junior campaign with a team-high 118 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 3 block punts, and 2 touchdowns. He won USC's MVP award and was voted to his first-team All-American. Polamalu finished his college career with 278 tackles, 29 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, 4 block punts, and 3 touchdowns. In the 2003 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers traded up from the 27th spot to the 16th spot to pick Troy in the first round, becoming only the second safety the Steelers had ever taken in the first round. In 2004, Polamalu would win the starting job over Mike Logan and would make his first NFL start in the season opener. And in fact, he had completely dominated that year, recording a season-high 96 combined tackles, 67 of those solo, 10 pass deflections, 5 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. He was named to his first Pro Bowl. The Steelers had an incredible season, finishing first in the AFC North with a 15-1 record. Polamalu recorded 7 combined tackles, a pass deflection, and an interception in his first playoff game, and helped to advance the team to the AFC Championship game. This safety's prowess continued into the 2005 season, even setting the NFL record for most sacks by a safety in a single game, with 3 against Houston Texans quarterback David Carr. The Steelers would once again make it to the playoffs, and Troy would gain his 2nd consecutive Pro Bowl and was named first-team All-Pro. In the AFC wildcard game, Polamalu recorded 6 tackles and intercepted a pass in the 31-17 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. That win would launch the momentum that took them all the way to the Super Bowl and ultimately winning Super Bowl 40. Polamalu would be voted to 3 more Pro Bowls and another first-team All-Pro in between Super Bowl appearances. In 2008, the Steelers had finished with a 12-4 record, and Troy recorded 73 combined tackles, 54 of those solo, a career-high 17 pass deflections, and a career-high 7 interceptions in the regular season. In the AFC Championship game, the safety had 4 combined tackles, 2 pass deflections, and intercepted a pass by Joe Flacco and returned it for a 40-yard touchdown in the 4th quarter to secure the 23-14 victory. He would go on to win his 2nd Super Bowl. And just 2 seasons later, Polamalu would make his 3rd Super Bowl appearance, this time recording 3 solo tackles. But it wasn't enough, as the Steelers were defeated by none other, the Green Bay Packers, 31-25. Now, this was an incredibly stressful game for me, as you can imagine. That year, Polamalu was named AP Defensive Player of the Year, won the NFL Alumni Player of the Year, and Defensive Back of the Year award. In 2015, Polamalu announced his retirement from professional football. He finished a 12-year career with 770 tackles, 32 interceptions, and 3 touchdowns. Troy was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2020, his first year of eligibility, and sits on the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Honor. Polamalu was named to the NFL's 2000s All-Decade Team and the Pittsburgh Steelers All-Time Team. An amazing career for such a humble guy. All right, time to move on to our 3rd player of the night, pitcher Dennis Eckersley. Eckersley was a right-handed pitcher known for his unusual delivery, utilizing a high leg kick along with a long, pronounced sidearm throwing motion. The guy had pinpoint accuracy, and kind of like we're seeing pitchers nowadays being more showy, Eck was known for this, being aggressive and animated on the mound, giving guys intimidating stares, and pumping his fist during strikeouts, kind of like Joe Kelly and Brewster Gratterall. Eck spent time as a starter and a closer, becoming only the 2nd pitcher in Major League history to have both a 20-win season and a 50-save season in a career. As a starter, he threw 4 pitches for strikes, but as a closer, he narrowed it down to just 2 pitches, the sinker and a backdoor slider. Eckersley was selected by the Cleveland Indians in the 3rd round of the 1972 MLB draft, and in '75, he became an American League Rookie Pitcher of the Year, compiling a 13-7 win-loss record and a 2.60 ERA. In '77, he threw a no-hitter against the Angels, striking out 12 batters and only allowed 2 to reach base. Eck was selected to his first All-Star game and finished with a 14-13 record. Eckersley had a consistent few years with the Indians before making the rounds with the Red Sox and the Cubs. In 1987, he would be traded to the Oakland Athletics, and due to an injury to their normal closer, Eckersley would get his shot. That year, he saved 16 games and really established himself as a dominant closer in '88 by recording a league-leading 45 saves. Eckersley recorded 4 saves against the Red Sox in the regular season, and then dominated the Sox again with another 4 saves when the A's swept them in the ALCS. Unfortunately for the A's, they were on the wrong side of Kirk Gibson's 1988 World Series home run, and fun fact, it was actually Eckersley who coined the phrase walk-off home run. The A's would lose to the Dodgers in 5. But no tears, because the A's would find themselves back in the World Series a year later, where Eck secured a victory in Game 2, earned the final save of the series as the A's swept the San Francisco Giants. Eckersley was the best closer in the game from '88 to '92, finishing first in the AL in saves twice, second 2 other times, and third once. He saved 220 games during the 5 years as a closer and never posted an ERA higher than 2.96. I mean, the guy gave up 5 earned runs in the entire 1990 season. That gave him a .61 ERA. Eckersley's control was his trademark. He walked only 3 batters in 57.2 innings in 1989, 4 batters in 73.1 innings in 1990. In fact, between August 7th, 1989 and June 10th, 1990, he appeared in 41 games without walking a single batter. And in 1990, Eckersley became the first relief pitcher in baseball history to have more saves than base runners allowed. In 1992, when he posted 51 saves, he was the AL MVP and Cy Young Award winner. In 1998, Dennis Eckersley announced his retirement from baseball, bringing his 23-year career to a close. He retired with a career 197 and 171 win-loss record, a 3.5 ERA, and 390 saves. When Eck retired, he had appeared in more games than any other pitcher in Major League history, with 1,071. And in '99, he ranked in the Sporting News' top 100 of the greatest baseball players. In his first year of eligibility, Eckersley was elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame with 83.2% of the votes. In 2005, the A's retired X number 43. And here we go. Our last contender of the night goes to Dallas Cowboys safety Cliff Harris. Cliff played for the Cowboys for 10 seasons, despite not being selected in the 1970 NFL Draft. The Cowboys ended up inviting him to training camp, and then he signed as a free agent after beating out third-round draft pick Charlie Waters. And in his first season, even though military service would take him out of the second half of the season, Harris was back in time for his first Super Bowl appearance. Harris was nicknamed Captain Crash by his teammates for his hard-hitting technique and reckless pursuit of ball carriers. And in fact, the Cowboys' defense ranked in the top 10 every year that Harris was in the lineup. After his rookie season, Harris's role widened to include kick return duties, averaging an incredible 28.4 yards per kick return that season. In 1974, that would be his first of 6 consecutive Pro Bowl appearances. But Cliff Harris was at his best in the postseason, finishing his career with 6 interceptions and 4 forced fumbles in 21 postseason games. By the way, this is before the NFL started keeping track of tackles. During his 10-year career, Cliff participated in 5 Super Bowls, winning 2 of them, including the Cowboys' first World Championship with their victory over the Miami Dolphins 24-3. Thanks to Harris and the Cowboys' defense, they would hold the record for the fewest points allowed in a Super Bowl for the next 47 years. 6 years later, Harris would win another ring with the Cowboys in Super Bowl 12, taking down the Denver Broncos and their Orange Crush defense 27-10. At the young age of 31, Cliff Harris would retire from football. He finished his career with 141 games played, 29 interceptions, with 281 interception yards and 1 touchdown, plus 66 punt returns for 418 yards. Harris would collect 4 first-team All-Pros, 6 Pro Bowls, and would make the NFL 1970 All-Decade Team. Cliff also has an award named after him. The Cliff Harris Award is presented to the top defensive player in the country representing Division II, III, and NAIA colleges and universities. And finally, in January 2020, Harris was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There you have it, folks. Our 4 contenders for Who Wore It Best number 43. Let's recap, shall we? We have the King, NASCAR's Richard Petty, 2-time Super Bowl champ Troy Polamalu, 1992's AL MVP Dennis Eckersley, and finally, Hall of Fame safety Cliff Harris. As you know, we will reveal the winner in just a moment, but first, remember, you can check out all the episodes of Who Wore It Best Jersey Royale on the Titan Media Collective YouTube channel. Just find the playlist and get your fill of all the great numbers that we have already covered. As always, remember to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. And hey, while you're at it, give me a follow on Instagram at Cakes88 so you never miss a number. All right, back to the decision at hand. It is time to announce our winner of the best athlete to ever wear the number 43. And I'm telling you, these athletes really gave each other a run for their money. But there has to be one winner, and it is the king himself, Richard Petty. Look, he put NASCAR on the map and brought fans to the scenes. Petty was the first driver to win the Cup Series championship 7 times. Prior to that, the most any driver had ever won was 3. And statistically, he is the most accomplished driver in the history of the sport and is one of the most respected figures in motorsports as a whole. Over his career, he collected a record number of poles with 123 and over 700 top 10 finishes in a record 1,184 starts, including 513 consecutive starts. All right, there you go, fans. Your winner for number 43, Richard Petty. Meet me back here next week for another number and another battle. I'm Kaleigh Krish, this is Who Wore It Best, and I'll see y'all later.
friends, welcome back to another episode of Boozin on a Budget right here on Titan TV. So tonight I want to start by showing you guys the most viral piece of social media I have done to date. It currently has 515,000 views and 12.8 thousand likes on the TikTok. It's poking fun at the popular show Yellowstone, and we're also going to talk about them using Buffalo Trace whiskey products in the show, which is what this whole TikTok is about. Let's give it a look, and then we'll talk about it.
So because there's a show called Yellowstones, and these cowboys ordered double Buffalo Traces, and this cowgirl seems to prefer Weller, nobody will ever be able to find Buffalo Trace or Weller 12 ever again.
All right, so right off the top, I did something that I knew would, poke the bear. I know the show is called Yellowstone, but I called it Yellowstones, which of course people all up in the comments, it's called Yellowstone, not Yellowstones, you're stupid. We do this for engagement, right? Creators know this. Anything that can get people to comment, which is specifically why I did that, Yellowstone. So now I lovingly call it Yellowstones. But in the show, in that clip, they ordered some Buffalo Trace in one of the scenes in the show. And then another scene in that show, the gal there was pouring some Weller. These are two whiskeys from Buffalo Trace Distillery, arguably one of the most popular distilleries in the country. It's in Frankfort, Kentucky. A lot of good bourbon. Doesn't have to come from Kentucky to be bourbon. However, tons of great bourbon comes from Kentucky, so Buffalo Trace Distillery is in Kentucky. One of the things that you need to know is that since this boom in bourbon in the last 7-ish or so years that really people have started going absolutely nuts for bourbon again, some bourbons are hard to find. And so that just drives the demand. The scarcity drives demand. And Buffalo Trace products are some of the most sought after whiskeys. I mean, people go nuts for this stuff. And I think the distillery and the distributors and the manufacturers, they have caught on how to really drive demand, again, through scarcity. So there's parts of this country where you can't find Buffalo Trace. I'm in Las Vegas. Buffalo Trace is all over the place. But there's parts of the country you can't find it. Or you can find it and it's marked way up above retail. Bottle of Buffalo Trace, I just saw it at Walmart for 22 bucks. 22 to 26 bucks is retail for Buffalo Trace. Other places have it up for 100, 200, 300 bucks, ridiculous. But it's a hard to find whiskey. So in the TikTok, when I say, I actually made that TikTok because after that Yellowstone episode, people were saying, well, there we go, we're never even, we couldn't find Buffalo Trace or Wellers before, Weller 12, now we're never gonna be able to find it. Because they thought once it's on the show, people are just going to go even more nuts for it than they already are. So that's what I was really poking at, really playing at, is that, well, we're never going to be able to find it again. And of course, that touched a nerve with the bourbon community. And so that, I believe, is what really drove that TikTok to go viral, because they started complaining, you're right, we'll never be able to find it. Other people were saying, you're stupid, I can still go down and get it. So again, it just really touched a nerve with the community. So let's talk about Buffalo Trace. They have a ton of highly sought after whiskeys. Eagle Rare is one that I just happened to find. This one's really hard to find in Vegas, actually. All over, actually. This one's is not easily attainable. So I feel lucky that I found this one. E.H. Taylor. This one, really hard to find, or much higher price in retail if you do find it. Probably one of the best well-known ones is Pappy Van Winkle, or the Van Winkle line. Blanton's. People go absolutely nuts for Blanton's. That's another thing where everybody's hunting for it. Prices have gone out of the roof. People say, that one's crap, you shouldn't look for it. It's just, people go nuts for Blanton's. George T. Stagg is another one. Sazerac, Elmer T. Lee, the W.L. Weller line, which is in the show. Old Charter, Benchmark, Ancient Age, a couple other ones in there. But Buffalo Trace, they have so many whiskeys that people are clamoring for and that are hard to find. And again, they're playing that game, making them scarce. Parts of the country have it, other parts don't. People are losing their mind for Buffalo Trace. How did this all start? Well, one of the biggest things that you can look at is there's actually a show on Netflix called The Heist. It's all about employees at Buffalo Trace who literally were stealing cases of Pappy Van Winkle and then reselling it to their friends. They're basically saying, oh, you know, they'll never miss a couple cases of Pappy Van Winkle. I'm just gonna take that in the back of my truck, sell it to my friends, make a little side money, and then it just grew and grew. And in that Netflix show, The Heist, this guy actually went to jail for this. This was a big deal. But I think that really started kind of the myth of Pappy Van Winkle. Like, it started with this heist and it started to grow. It became this mythological thing. Not to mention, I've never had Pappy Van Winkle, but it has to be good for all the fanfare that goes around it. Another thing really ultimately that I think is driving some of the scarcity of not only Buffalo Trace, but a lot of the American bourbons that are so popular right now, is that, like I said, it's been booming for 7 to 10 years, where it's really coming to the forefront of craft cocktail and whiskey drinkers searching for all these bourbon whiskeys. And one of the things about bourbon whiskey is it has to be aged at least 2 years in order to be labeled bourbon. But most of them go for 4, and I would say even more of them go for 6 to 12 years. So, you know, 6 to 12 years ago, they didn't really know that bourbon was going to boom like this. So they didn't make enough bourbon to meet the demands now. I'm sure they're making it hand over fist now. But the fact that you have to age bourbon makes it a little bit harder to get, makes it, you know, takes longer to produce. So that's partly why some of these are hard to find as well. So if you see Buffalo Trace or E.H. Taylor or Eagle Rare or Blanton's out in the wild, now that's a term for you just happen to stumble across it in a liquor store. I saw it out in the wild, as opposed to getting it off the black market or buying it off the internet or actually going to the distillery. You found it out in the wild. So if you see some of those out in the wild, check them out. If they're not overly priced, I'd say buy them, give them a shot. The funny thing is, I just mentioned to the black market, now there's a black market for whiskey. So I happen to have this Eagle Rare, which is a store pick. I think I paid like $45. Eagle Rare is like a $45 bottle of whiskey. But if you can't find this where you live, I might take this and say, hey guys, go on one of my groups, one of my whiskey groups, and say, I got an Eagle Rare, sell it to you for $100. Somebody out there is going to be like, well, I want that Eagle Rare. I'm going to come up on, $50 on the bottle because I sold it for $100, bought it for $50. So this black market is happening. Very interesting result of all this stuff as well. But really the funny thing is, I want to kind of point out, back in the day, I'm dating myself here, but people were lining up around the block trying to find Cabbage Patch Kids or Beanie Babies, or I think Tickle Me Elmo was something people were lining up for. You now have grown men lining up the day before at liquor stores and stuff like that to get some of this Buffalo Trace and other bourbon products. They're lining up, grown men. At the Buffalo Trace distillery, there's like a line that wraps around the building just so they can get in and get their hands on some of this stuff. I think that's fascinating. So given the scarcity of Buffalo Trace and Weller 12 on the market and everything I just described from the Buffalo Trace distillery, that is why I believe that TikTok went so viral. It really touched a nerve. I poked the bear, and here I am sitting at 500,000 views on TikTok on one of my greatest viral videos ever. All right, my friends, let's move along to my next segment, binge thinking. We're going to stay in the whiskey realm of the world. It is my wheelhouse. I love my bourbon whiskey, but I wanted to talk about, how do you drink it? What's the right way? What's the wrong way? There's really no wrong way. The line that we love to say is, you drink it the way you like it. Now, certainly I have some opinions on how to drink it, and we'll get into those. I prefer to drink it neat, which means just no ice, nothing else added into it, just a straight up pour of whiskey in a Glencairn glass, a nosing glass. This is designed, this bowl here will catch the very nice bourbon smell and go right on up to the top. You switch it around, give it a smell, and drink it. I like to sip my bourbon neat. Other people like to put it in a rocks glass, put a little ice in there, put their bourbon over the ice. The ice will melt a little bit, dilute the bourbon, open up some of the flavors. I happen to have one of these. This is an ice ball mold. You can see it here. Put that on just like so. Fill the water up in this hole in the top, put that in your freezer, then you have a really nice round piece of ice to pour your bourbon over. Another thing people will do is maybe in a rocks glass or a Glencairn glass, they'll pour their whiskey neat, and then they'll just put literally a couple drops of water, like from a dropper, 1, 2, 3 drops of water. I like it like that because it'll open up, it'll give you a little bit different sense of that whiskey. It'll open it up a little bit. Occasionally I will put my whiskey over the rocks. I don't really like it to be diluted too much. A couple drops of water is great. In a glass full of ice where it melts and stuff, I don't like too much dilution. Also, I'm a strong believer that ice kind of closes things down, right? That's why I don't put my whiskey in the refrigerator or the freezer. When it's cold, it kind of closes things off. Same thing with wine, right? We want to serve things at the right temperature. Whiskey I love at room temperature. You'll see people, they got bottles of stuff in their freezer. Maybe if you have a really bad whiskey or something really awful, like, you know, if you have, like back in the day, we put our really rough tequila or vodka or whatever it was, Jägermeister, you throw it in the freezer because it helps it go down a little bit better. Well, why is that? Well, it's because it's kind of tamped it down. It's closed it up, makes it a little bit more palatable. I'm not spending my money on good whiskey to close the flavors off. So that's why I don't really like it on ice. Sometimes I'll do it just to see if it, you know, maybe what that does. It gives me a different experience, but generally room temp in a Glencairn glass. However, you should drink it the way that you like it. If you like it on ice, drink it on ice. If you like it with a splash of water, drink it like that. Drink it the way you like it. But that's just a little bit about how we drink our whiskey. All right, my friends, moving right along to my next segment, the drink of the week. I want to talk about the Voodoo Ranger series from New Belgium Brewing. New Belgium Brewing started in Fort Collins, Colorado, way back in the day with Fat Tire. Fat Tire was one of those craft beers that kind of started showing up on tap handles in bars and restaurants as kind of one of the first, you know, forerunners of craft beer. I remember, you know, Fat Tire, they had the little bike tire bell on on some of the tap handles. And I liked Fat Tire. It wasn't bad. It started opening people's minds up to getting them away from some of the domestic, you know, Budweiser, Bud Light, Coors Light, those types of things. Fat Tire from New Belgium was one of the front runners. Now, generally, when it comes to my beer especially, I like some of the smaller producers, some of the local brewery stuff. I'm really all about that. Nothing against the major conglomerates, but I kind of tend to lean towards some of the smaller produced stuff. New Belgium Brewing has since been bought out, you know, some years back by a major conglomerate. However, the Voodoo Ranger series, I will stick by this. It's an excellent series for beer. One of my previous episodes, we used the Juice Force IPA, Hazy Imperial IPA, for about a demonstration on how you should pour your beer the right way to get some of the CO2 off. Go back and check out my previous episode if you want to see that. Once I started drinking this beer, man, I fell in love with it. It is one of the newer iterations of the Voodoo Ranger series. This stuff is crazy tropical IPA. It is so good. So good. Even my roommate, Big Al from Throne Breaks, he is not an IPA guy, as a lot of people aren't. Even he likes this one, so that's pretty high praise for him. But another new one from the series is the Fruit Force Fruit Punch IPA. I have not had this one yet, and so I am looking forward to trying this. So I'm going to open this up and pour it, and we'll talk about it. Other beers in the Voodoo Ranger series include Voodoo Ranger Imperial, a Juicy Haze, and just a standard IPA. They're all very much on the IPA side, but again, Al liked it, so maybe give it a try. I'm pretty stoked. I've heard high praise on this one. Let's give it a shot. I can smell it already. It smells like fruit punch. You gotta be kidding me. That literally smells like fruit punch. I mean, I'm wondering, is this even gonna be a little too fruity for me? I don't like it if it's, you know, it still has to taste like beer for me, right? And if it has a fruit component, it needs to be done well. It needs to be, you know, not overblown with the fruit stuff. I can literally smell the fruit punch. It smells really good though. Well, we don't let the foam out on that one, huh? All right, let's give it a shot. This one's gonna get foamy on the foam on the nose. Quite fruity. 100% a fruit punch quality on there. I don't think it's too overblown for me. That's got just a fruit punch, like almost a Hawaiian punch, believe it or not. Red fruit kind of forward type thing. Cherry, kind of cherry strawberry, really just that fruit punch. This one leaning a little bit more towards kind of tropical fruit thing going on, which also your hops will give you a tropical fruit character as well. I think I might like this one better, but let's see. Let's have another sip and see. Both of these coming in at 9.5 alcohol by volume, so they're heavy hitters, which is pretty standard for your IPAs. They're a little higher than your standard IPA, I would say. This is going into your Imperial or double IPA alcohol by volume. That is crazy. I mean, it almost makes me want to wonder if they used, this will not sound great, but it has such a fruit punch character to it that, is there an added flavor? Added flavoring in here? It says Imperial India Pale Ale with natural flavors. I'll have to do a little bit more research on that. If they didn't just straight up, I doubt they just added like a fruit punch flavoring. I really doubt it. So then where would that fruit punch be coming from, that flavor? Well, it'd come from your hops. It would come from your hops or the way that you brew it. That's good though. I do like it. I think I might like this one a little bit better, but that's not going to stop me from drinking this one. Also, believe it or not, as I'm drinking this New Belgium stuff, and I'm really happy about this, there remains a New Belgium-ish flavor that I do remember going all the way back to Fat Tire, which I like. That means there's consistency in the brewing, even though it's been taken over by a major producer. And that's just a little bit of the personality of the brewery. So the personality that I experienced in Fat Tire is still coming through on these New Belgium Voodoo Rangers. I'm stoked on that. That's awesome. So I'd highly recommend, guys, like I said, there's a whole range of the Voodoo Ranger series. Check them out. This one, I will say, probably my favorite. Man, this one's good. New Belgium Brewing, check it out, Voodoo Ranger. All right, my friends, my last segment tonight is Pairs With. I'm going to go another direction like I have been. I'm going to talk about music. Well, just this week, Friday, actually yesterday, Skrillex, one of the godfathers of modern American electronic music, put out a new album. Skrillex collaborates all over the place, a lot of singles. We don't get a full album from him very often. However, one came out yesterday, and I'm here to tell you, it slaps. If you're into electronic music at all, you need to give this a listen. Quest for Fire is the name of the new Skrillex album. I listened to it in its entirety. It is very, very good. It covers a variety of genres and different electronic styles, and has collaborations with artists like Missy Elliott, Fred Again, which I've talked about Fred Again in a previous episode. Super good Fred Again, one of my favorites. Noisia, Peekaboo, Josh Pan, Porter Robinson, and others, a bunch of others. So Skrillex, Quest for Fire, pair that up with your favorite alcoholic drink, and I will guarantee you a good time. Once again, thank you so much, my friends, for joining me on another episode of Boozin' on a Budget right here on Titan TV. I'll see you next week.